Okay, here we have on the right a 1.60 high index lens material, and as you can see, compared to our plastic lens on the left, now we're starting to get into the higher index lenses, which can be ground much thinner and lighter. The lens itself, it is does have a UV inhibitor inherently in the material itself. There's no need to add UV protection to the lens. Here is where some of the lens designs become a little more limited, such as maybe a double D. Lined bifocal is not available. They do have the flat top 28, they do have a flat top 35 available. Trifocals I think is a little more limited, and this is mostly because due to the fact that some of the manufacturers just don't cast or mold those particular lens designs because they're not sold as often as say the progressive lenses, single vision, or even just the standard straight top 28 or flat top 28 lined lens option. But again, great lens option that I usually recommend to people who have much higher prescriptions. If you have a prescription that's very low, or what I would consider low, -2, +1, I don't think the 160 is absolutely necessary, but I know a lot of people will actually request or order or ask questions about getting the thinnest lens possible, which is fine. You can definitely do that. But when you're getting into the higher index lens materials, they're really more suitable for the higher prescription ranges. So my recommendation for a negative prescription for a 160 would probably be anywhere from like -4 to about a -8. And on the plus range side, I would say if you're +3, +4, up to about a +7, this is definitely a great lens choice. But that mid-range, the lower end, I think it's a little bit of overkill because you're really not going to reduce the thickness of the overall glasses that much where it's going to be extremely noticeable. Sometimes getting it too thin is not good because you don't want the lens to actually be able to flex, because then you're actually changing the curves and you can actually get more distortion. So the other thing with the higher indexes that we're going to get into between the 160 and the 167 and the 174 is that now the lens material is actually a little more dense. So what that means is the higher the index of refraction, it actually will slow the light as it passes through the material. When 160 and up index materials were released, they were all automatically processed with an anti-reflective. And that was to help offset the reflection off of the surface because the actual lens material itself of the 160 can reflect light quite a bit more than the lower index materials. And it's also, believe it or not, it's actually a heavier material than plastic. It's a little more dense. So, but what makes it thin and light is the fact that you can now cut less steep curves, you can make them thinner, and that's actually what is making them lighter. So this is about the same as a 167, so let's continue on with a 167 lens material.